Hello and welcome to Beyond the Numbers, a new series that we are running in BDO looking at the economy in Northern Ireland, looking at the opportunities and the challenges that businesses have to face on a daily basis. We're doing so by talking to key stakeholders in the marketplace, key individuals and organisations who influence the direction of travel in Northern Ireland. And today I'm delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive of the Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Suzanne Wylie. Suzanne, welcome to Beyond the Numbers, and thank you.
Delighted to be here, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking me.
It's a pleasure. It's an honour actually to have you here, because in the 2 years since you've taken up office, there have been enormous changes in the economy and the backdrop that we've been working in. And I think we have all benefited from the efforts of the Chamber and the interaction of the Chamber with the wider stakeholder group to help move things forward in a positive fashion. So it's great to have you here, and thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome, and that's good to hear that you have a good partnership and relationship with us.
Well, absolutely. Well, our relationship between BDO and the Chamber goes back decades. From previously where we've had former partners have been presidents, our involvement with the quarterly economic survey for well over a decade as well, attendance at events and round tables. I think it's a reflection of the impact that the Chamber has, in that it opens up these meetings and access to individuals who, particularly in government, who need to know and want to know what the key issues on the ground are. And I think the danger is sometimes we presume that decision makers are actually already armed with this information.
I think you're right. I think we do presume that. And I think, you've just kind of summed up what the Chamber is really all about. It is very unique, independent. It's for Northern Ireland business and of Northern Ireland business as well. And so we're really there. We're growing in terms of our membership, but we're there to help our members be much more successful and to overcome those barriers to growth as an individual business, but overall as an economy here in Northern Ireland as well, whether that's trading more internationally, whether that's doing more business here or across these islands, etc., and making those connections and building those relationships, but also, as you say, working in partnership with governments here, Northern Ireland Executive, Westminster, Brussels, the government in the Republic of Ireland as well. We absolutely play on all of those stages as a chamber, and bring those issues that businesses are really saying, we need this particular problem solved, or there's an opportunity here that we really need to go after, and we need government support to help us to do that. So we will be right in there negotiating on behalf of businesses.
It's good to hear that and to have you in that role. 2 years in, Does it feel like 2 years?
No, not at all. It's gone in a flash. I have to keep reminding myself it's 2 years, but that tells me that we're really, really busy as an organisation, and that we're trying to evolve as an organisation too. So we're always changing and adapting to what business actually needs as well. And we're trying to go to government. I mean, we believe that we're really trusted by government because we're evidence-based. Really important that we're evidence-based, but try to go to government not just with the problems that we see here in Northern Ireland, but with potential solutions as well to those particular problems. So, and that takes quite a lot of work in the background that probably a lot of people don't see in the background as well, Brian, but I know you do.
I can't imagine the level of engagement that's required to build that momentum up. So that leads us on nicely into your thoughts about the economy here in Northern Ireland. We are a very conservative bunch, and we really don't like singing our praises. And it's one of the things that I find when we're dealing with our clients at BDO. We encourage our clients to celebrate their successes, acknowledge what they have achieved. And if we take a moment sitting with clients just to recount with them what they have achieved over the last 5 years, 10 years, or whatever the period, it's incredible. They're difficult. We don't take a compliment terribly well, but I think it's so worth acknowledging that. And you must see that too through the Chamber, that resilience, that determination in Northern Irish businesses, But where do you think that has taken us in the economy in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, well, I do see that resilience across businesses, and I do see that determination. I see some businesses who are just, making brilliant strides. I talked about some of those barriers in the economy, but some of them are solving some of those issues themselves, running their own academies, for example, to get the right skills into their workforce, working to solve some of the wastewater issues themselves, along with NI Water in their local areas, so they can expand their factories, for example. So they really are jumping in and really trying to work with government to try and reduce those barriers to growth. But in the last year, we outperformed the rest of the UK. And I think we should take real, a pride in that, because we export it more in terms of the increase in the number of exports, and our level of growth was higher than the rest of the UK. Now, we shouldn't rest on our laurels, because whilst many of our businesses who are resilient, 79% I think in our last economic survey, said that they are trading well or reasonably well, which is good, and there's
Remarkable.
confidence there.
And
Yes,
we have been involved, obviously, with you and the QES for quite some
you
time.
have.
The last couple of years, it has been a consistent figure where you're up around that 80%, 75, 80%, treating well or reasonably well. Incredible.
And that's business sentiment. That's really what that survey is tapping into, what the business owners and senior teams think. And I think that's incredibly important, as well as the very hard stats. But we use 11 indicators on that survey, as you well know. And, a number of years ago, it used to be we're kind of bottom of the ranking when it came to all of the UK. We're now right up there in manufacturing and also in services across the UK. Now, it's still a difficult trading environment, Brian, and I don't think, I think we're all realists as well, that there's still a lot of work that we need to do to grasp the opportunities that we really have here in Northern Ireland. And I think we all believe that as a business community, that there are so many opportunities ahead of us, and we need to make sure that all of the stars are aligned, to make sure that we can really grasp those opportunities. So it's not just about the businesses and their ambition. That's absolutely part of it. It's about the support that they get from the agencies and organisations like mine and organisations like yours. But it's also about government, and it's about government decision making and government policy as well, to make sure that the right environment is created for those opportunities to be realised as well. And that's something we're working very, very hard on across the board.
It's wonderful to hear about this momentum that has been built up. It's a key part of the solution and the economic plan, or as you have said before, the blueprint for the economic success of Northern Ireland going forward. It would be at a much more challenging position if we were having to develop the economy into the position that it is in today. We actually have that, and we see our clients looking for the next opportunity. I would ask you about one word. In the past, the word uncertainty has been weaponized, and it's been used by many businesses as a reason not to do things. And when you think over the last half a dozen years, the challenges, or even slightly longer with Brexit initially, then going into the pandemic, the challenges with that, cost of
Huge
living,
challenges.
and the macroeconomic issues as well. From what I have seen with our clients, uncertainty has become the norm, and it's an enormous move away from uncertainty causing paralysis to uncertainty being a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday. It is no different.
I think you're right, and I think that's what we see. I mean, I go out and visit many of our member businesses, and I've done a lot of that over the summer months as well this year, and that's exactly what I see. For example, going into factories and that have brought in a lot of automation, and Industry 4 kind of practices as well. And every time I ask the question, well, have you had to let staff go because of automation? They said, No, no, absolutely not. We have upskilled those staff members, and they're doing much higher value jobs today than they were a few years ago. So they are working to try and overcome those particular challenges. And I do think there are challenges with costs, of course. There are challenges with access to labour as well, and there are challenges with reducing our red tape when we're trading too. So that's why it's important that businesses can come together with an umbrella organisation like ours, and that we can put those issues in front of government in a way that we can say, but here are some of the things that you can do to try and reduce that red tape, for example, for trading businesses or businesses bringing goods in from GB, etc. Or here's how we can solve the wastewater problem. Potentially, and start that debate and that discussion politically as well.
It's a great discussion to be in the midst of, particularly with the prize at the end of it, the success that Northern Ireland could capitalise upon.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
It's against our mindset, but it's almost exciting, the prospects that we have going forward, despite the challenges. And certainly, referring to the Quarterly Economic Survey again, the benefit from that survey over the years, I think, has been enormous, because it acts as a barometer for how businesses have reported, feel, trade, expectation, hopes are all collected within that, and it has served its purpose extremely well. But I believe it will be evolving in time.
Yes, that's right. And we're very grateful to BDO for being a partner with us on the Quarterly Economic Survey for, I think, 10 years now, Brian. And you're right, it is used by government. It's even used by, in the EU, etc. Whenever we go with an ask, we always refer back to the actual information that we've collected, because that's evidence-based. That's really, really important when governments are looking at how they make different decisions. And so it's been incredibly valuable. But as you say, everything evolves. The QES is evolving, and so we're moving to working in partnership with Queen's University, going to academia to look at what added value we can bring to that quarterly economic survey as well. And that's part of a bigger partnership arrangement that the Chamber has now with Queen's University.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations
Thank
with
you.
that. And certainly we at BDO will continue to engage with you and to support those surveys going forward, because I think, and I said this to all of our viewers as well, it's important that people take that time and provide that feedback, because it does shape thinking.
It absolutely does.
You have shown that even in the last 2 years with the engagement that you've had and the responses that you've had from government and other stakeholders. So we look forward to seeing that evolution continue going forward then. So there are challenges. We can talk very positively here, but we have to be realists as well. So when you're engaging with your client base and your membership, the challenges that come to the foremost of their minds, what would you see there?
Well, at this point in time, as we sit here today, cost of doing business is always a challenge, really, because labour costs, as we know, have gone up since we had the national insurance contributions increases last year, and also inflation is still an issue, not as big an issue as it had been, but it's still creeping back up. So cost of doing business is significant. Trading, red tape and bureaucracy is still an issue that we're working very hard to reduce the levels of bureaucracy and paperwork, etc. Access to labour is an issue right across the board, and right across Europe. It is an issue, but something we believe that if we get the various policies right, that we can really make a difference.
And those challenges have existed for some time now, but we're still seeing this positivity within the reporting from the membership of the Chamber, and we see it within our clients as well. God forbid we would talk about positivity too openly, but there is an optimism for the future and a hope that the trajectory will continue, and it's not been left to chance. There are proactive steps being taken to address all of those challenges. Some sectors find it more challenging than others and might need more assistance than others, but it's the fact that the solutions are already evolving alongside the problems. And that's encouraging.
I think that's very encouraging. I think there needs to be a real focus on driving those solutions forward now. You talked about a blueprint for the economy earlier on. That's something that we would really like to see going into the next election here with the Northern Ireland Executive, that there's a real kind of clarity of what type of economy they want to have in Northern Ireland in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, and putting all those building blocks in place to enable that to happen alongside solving our public services as well and transforming them and making them absolutely excellent. I think those two things need to go hand in glove. And I think we need to deliver prosperity for our people as well as good public services. And so the focus for me needs to be on innovation. We're building out now all of our city and growth deal projects. They are driving innovation into sectors. I do think we need to have a really effective support for our growth sectors. That's incredibly important, that we stand out as a region. We should be a test bed. We are a population of 1.9 million, perfect to test out new technology, new ideas, and we should be, a nation of entrepreneurs, which in some respects we are. But again, to provide that real environment for entrepreneurs to really thrive, I think is really important. And we need to look at our competitiveness worldwide, but also on this island as well. When we've got a thriving economy a few hours down the road, with different rules and regulations and tax rates and etc. So we need to look at how competitive we are across the islands, across the globe, but on the island of Ireland as well. And we need to cut that red tape. We need to be a trading nation, and we need our businesses to really aspire to do that and really focus on the right markets for our businesses.
I've no
as well.
doubt that our viewers will agree with you on that. The red tape as a block to progress needs to be considered, and the opportunities and the wins on the other side of that are very much worth the effort in doing that. But I love, Suzanne, the way you talk about the challenges and turn it into a conversation around the opportunities, which is we're on the same page. We're on the same page for the potential that we have here. If I could take you back to March 2024, you and I both attended the trip, the extended trips in your case, to Washington. And if you recall...
Pre-Trump days.
Pre-Trump, indeed. But I think regardless of the political situation in the United States, the welcome for Northern Irish businesses that we experienced during that trip was phenomenal. The First and Deputy First Minister speaking to standing ovations at every single event. And it was my first time attending such a thing, and we spoke at an event together. And the strength of feeling towards Northern Ireland was brilliant.
Palpable.
Yes.
Really palpable.
And real, because within a week of returning, we were having meetings in Belfast with American business people that we met out there looking to progress the discussion. So that was March 24. You were out in March 25 again. We're not losing the momentum here, are we?
I don't think we are losing the momentum, Brian. I mean, I think that you're right. 2024 was special because, of course, the executive had come back together again, and to see the First and Deputy First Minister up there on all the stages, the Americans in the audience, as well as the locals there too, were absolutely blown away by how joined up the messaging was from both of them, and could see such potential and possibility, and also that you mentioned uncertainty earlier on, which is absolutely fundamental to business, that they have certainty, political certainty going forward. And was always the questions on any inward investors' lips, well, do you not have a government? What does that mean? So we can't underestimate how important having a Northern Ireland executive up and running and operational is to looking at inward investment, but also when we take our businesses out looking for new markets as well elsewhere. It's incredibly important. I was in North Carolina, as you said, in this March, and also in DC, and we did hold events. We had First and Deputy First Minister with us again. It was much more in-depth this time because it was really focused on bringing some of our scaling companies out to North Carolina to look at market opportunities there, and the businesses there who are multi-global, multi-million pounds, trillion-pound businesses, and absolutely global, right? And the interest that there was in some of our really, really innovative products and ideas that have come out of this place was phenomenal.
Well, I think that's brilliant, and I think it aligns very much with the mentality of businesses here. We've all attended different conferences and investment conferences here in Belfast, and the stories of those that have invested already. Over 1,200 international businesses have invested in Northern Ireland. 70% of those have reinvested, and the stories they tell are tremendous. And in Washington in 24, listening to those stories being repeated and watching the American business people in the audiences turning and looking at each other going, why aren't we there? One of them actually said that to me, didn't realize I was from Northern Ireland. And it was an easy conversation to pick up on. Well, why not indeed? Let's talk about that. So I asked the question, but I do believe the momentum is still there for us. I would agree with you. And I think it's a big opportunity for Northern Ireland, the foreign direct investment, because when we look at Belfast, Belfast is very competitive. The wider Northern Ireland region is very competitive. For all of the reasons foreign direct investment look for in a region, we have that to offer.
I think we do. I think we have something which is quite unique, really, and I think that's really important. And not, dual market access is clearly unique in terms of these islands, right? If you're selling goods into the EU and into GB, well, you absolutely have a competitive advantage over
Absolutely.
over others in these islands for sure. But listening to those foreign direct investment companies and why they have grown is because of the talent and the people they have. And that's not just the qualifications, that's important, but it's also the work ethic, it's also the stickiness of the workforce, the loyalty of the workforce as well. And it's also the fact that because we are small, we all know each other, really. And so the ecosystem that we operate in, I think, is really, really strong and really helpful.
The opportunities are there, but we can't be complacent, Suzanne, you've said that. What would be the top 2 or 3 areas to focus on moving forward? And I think for viewers as well, listening in and watching our chat, they should contribute and contact the Chamber, contact ourselves, and we'll channel those views through to you. But where would you see the main areas of focus for the Chamber and for the Northern Ireland economy in the months ahead?
Well, I would say a real focus on innovation. We've got an industrial strategy in the UK that is very much focused on innovation. That needs to translate to here in Northern Ireland. We need to make the most of those city deal projects that I talked about earlier on. We need to tap businesses into those projects as well. We need a real focus on skills and making sure that our skills ecosystem and what we're producing is work ready for those jobs of the future and what our employers actually need. And I think we need to focus on some of our sectoral strengths as well and making sure that those sectors can grow and get all the support that they need so they can internationalise their businesses.
Well, it gives me, and I'm sure our viewers as well, great comfort and reassurance to know that you're involved and the wider team in the Chamber is focused on those goals, and the beneficiaries of those are the businesses and the people working within the economy in Northern Ireland. So I think there are exciting times ahead right across the board, all sectors, manufacturing, services, hospitality, tourism. There are enormous opportunities. It feels as if Northern Ireland in some regards has been untapped in the opportunity. And with those areas being focused upon, working towards that blueprint, that map to achieve that outcome has to be our goal. And It's been fantastic talking to you here today, Suzanne, and it's energizing to hear the amount of areas that you're focusing on, not just Northern Ireland, but across the water and in the United States as well. We do operate in a global market,
We
and
absolutely do.
people in Northern Ireland, businesses in Northern Ireland are in that space. So thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
So that brings us to an end of this session. It's been great speaking with Suzanne, hearing about the economy. And I think we don't talk about the economy enough. And when we do, it does tend to be quite negative, focusing on the challenges, which is fair enough. It's reasonable. But I think also we should look to that balance, and we should look to the celebration of the achievements that have been made within your businesses and the wider economy, because the opportunities are there. And we certainly at BDO would encourage business people to lift their heads, raise their heads, and look to those opportunities and look to see how those can be capitalized upon, because we would be hopeful and beyond hopeful that Northern Ireland is on a positive trajectory that will continue. Thank you.